Hey YouTube, Joe Bassett for Valiant Outfitters. We're going to finish up our tri-stick and the notches that we're going to use on that tri-stick. These are basic notches, just the ones that we at Valiant Outfitters feel that you need to be successful for 1 or 2 nights out in the wilderness. They would be applicable in a survival situation, but they're also just fun to do when you're sitting around the campfire if you're out on a backpacking trip. These 3 notches are all somewhat related. We're going to do what's called the latch notch, or some people might call it the number 7 notch. A few weeks ago, I showed you how to carve the end of your tri-stick, or what you use for the end of a stick to make a tent stake, get that nice and sharp to drive down in the ground. This is the other end. The 7 notch, or the latch notch, is the other end where you would tie your cordage to tie off for a tent stake. We're going to use our anvil again. And we're going to make a stop cut on this. The stop cut, remember, we just take our cutting tool and we're going to go straight in, perpendicular to the way the stick is running. We're going to use a good full grip on this one. This is a great beginning grip when you're just learning how to use a knife. And I'm just going to take off, just shave off as little bit as I can into that stop notch. And trim away a little bit in that stop cut and continue that process. Do my stop cut to trim that out and make that a little bit deeper, and I'm going to keep going until I'm a little less than halfway through. If I had sourced this as a branch out in the wild, I would keep going down until I got to the heartwood, that slightly darker wood that's in the middle of a branch. Something that's helpful as you get in is don't do too many shavings before you reestablish that stop cut. When you do that, then you lose that perpendicular stop cut in, and it will start to create more of a V notch, which we don't want yet. Should have a good, we should have a good perpendicular stop cut there. Might need to trim it up a little bit. That looks okay. Our next notch is somewhat similar to that latch notch or number 7 notch. It's actually going to be cutting in and then coming opposing it, and it's a V notch. So I'm going to create a V using that stop cut. I'm going to use the same grip again, a good full grip, and that's why these 2 notches are good to work on together. So I'm going to start with a stop cut, just as I did with that latch notch. And I'm going to shave off just a little bit on one side, listening for that click when I hit that stop cut. Then I'm going to reverse and come in again. Now in this one, it's a little more difficult coming from this direction because, of course, that stop cut, you've cut some of it away. But I'm going to continue that process, reestablish that stop cut, good full grip, and just shave off a little bit at a time into that stop cut that I made. Taking our time until we become comfortable with the way our knife works, with the way the wood responds. For my V-notch, I want to avoid carving and turning because I want these surfaces to be as flat as possible. I don't want them to round. I want to keep a good perpendicular line into that stop cut. I also want to avoid any type of scooping motion. I don't want to scoop into my V-notch. I want to come as straight in as I can. It helps to stay down on this edge of the blade to make sure that you don't get that scooping motion. Our final notch, some people think is similar to the V-notch, but it's a different carving technique and a different part of the blade that we're going to use. This is called the saddle notch. You might know it as the log cabin notch. This is the same type of notch they'd use at the ends of beams for a log cabin, at the end of those logs where they're going to fit together. For this, I'm going to use a much finer carving motion. I want to be much more gentle with this than I was with the V-notch, and I'm not going to use a stop cut in this, and I'm going to use somewhat of a scooping motion. I can do it on the opposite side of where I did the V-notch, just a little bit away from it, and I'm going to take the curve of the knife, and I just want to scoop a little bit, and I'm going to use my thumb. Notice where I place my thumb, and I'm going to scoop. As I come in, I'm going to scoop with that curved part. And notice how I'm dipping my hand here, and I'm placing my thumb behind the blade for that. I'll flip around. Similar motion from the other side. Now on that V-notch, I wanted to come in as straight as possible. But here I want to use that curved part of the knife and scoop. While at the same time being careful to not go too much over to these peaks, because I don't want to round this out too much. I want it to be a scoop parallel to the way that my stick is running. There we have our last 3 notches for our beginning tri-stick, our latch notch or number 7 notch, the V-notch, and a saddle notch. Thanks for joining me. We'll be getting back out in the woods soon, but this has been a good time here in the Backyard Base Camp where you can practice your skills too if you don't have a chance to get outside. Joe Bassett for Valiant Outfitters. Hey, if you liked this video, please hit that like button. Subscribe, hit the notification so you know whenever we come out with a new video. You probably have also noticed starting to do some shorts, so you can follow us there too and check out those shorts. We'll see you back for another Wilderness Wednesday.